Hey everybody, it is Saturday, which means it's time to look at the hottest and coldest teams in the NHL as we do every week. Before I begin, I just ask that you please subscribe if you are new and hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. It helps the channel an absolute ton and is greatly appreciated. But as you guys know, I usually like to start with the good, so we are going to look at the hottest teams in the NHL right now. Here are the 5 hottest teams in the league. Coming in at number 5 with the Florida Panthers. Now, Florida's record in their last 10 isn't all that impressive at 6-4-0, but they have won 4 straight games. And after a bit of a slide for a short period there for the Panthers, they've really turned it on in the last 4. They've gotten back on track, and they're playing really, really good hockey right now. Coming in at number 4, the Washington Capitals. This is another team that had a couple bad games but have gotten back on track, and they are 7-3-0 in their last 10. They won last night against the New Jersey Devils, which was their first win of the week, and after a couple of losses, they get back in the win column last night, and still a very, very good record with 7 wins in their last 10 games. At number 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins, team that I'll be streaming today. 7-2-1 in their last 10 and on a 5-game win streak, which is the longest active win streak in the NHL right now. Pittsburgh has been absolutely tearing it up, playing really, really well. And, obviously they've won 5 in a row. They're going to try to extend that to 6 today. And, they're climbing in the East. They are climbing in the East. They are trying to take over first place, and they're going for it. They've got some tough competition, but they're going for it. At number 2, we have the Nashville Predators, who are 8-2-0 in their last 10 games. Now, they did lose their last game out, but that broke a 6-game win streak that they were on. And Nashville, after being seemingly out of it earlier this season, has roared back into the playoff race and are actually now in a playoff spot in 4th place in the Central Division. So Nashville has been absolutely awesome of recent, and they're going to look to get back on track in their game tonight. But 8 wins in their last 10, it's hard to argue with that. They are playing really, really good hockey right now. But coming in at number 1 are the Colorado Avalanche, the hottest team in the NHL right now. They are 8-0-2 in their last 10 games. They are on a 3-game winning streak. They have not lost in regulation in their past 10. They've won 8 out of those 10 games. They've gotten points in all of them. And Colorado is just absolutely ripping right now. This team, now that they're healthy, is looking like the team I was expecting to see this season in Colorado, and they have just been tearing it up right now and launching themselves to the top of the West Division. So those are your 5 hottest teams in the NHL right now. At 5, the Florida Panthers. At 4, the Washington Capitals. At 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins. At 2, the Nashville Predators. And at 1, the Colorado Avalanche. Now, we have to switch things over to the other side of things, the not so good, the 5 coldest teams in the NHL. So, as you can see, there are some teams with not very good records in their past 10 games, and there was another 3-7 team that could have been on the list. But at number 5, I started with Chicago, who are 3-7-0 in their last 10. They lost their last game out, and Chicago's really been struggling recently, which has dropped them out of the 4th spot in the Central, out of a playoff spot, and Nashville, as hot as they have been, have actually taken over that 4th spot. Now, Nashville and Chicago do play each other today, so that game is literally for 4th place and for a playoff spot right now in the Central. So that's a huge one for sure. And the Blackhawks need to get things back on track here, or their playoff hopes are going to decrease as time goes on if they can't start putting more than 3 wins in 10 games together. So Chicago's been unfortunately struggling here recently. At number 4, the Calgary Flames, 3-7-0 in their last 10. They've lost 2 straight now. The coaching change has not changed a whole lot with Calgary, other than their style of play. But they're still not winning a lot. They've had a really rough stretch here recently. They're only got 3 wins in their last 10. And their playoff hopes are very, very quickly going from unlikely to needing a miracle to getting to the point where they're almost out of it. So Calgary, if they don't start putting some wins together quickly, have virtually no shot at the postseason. Every game that goes by, their chances are getting smaller and smaller of making the playoffs. And this last 10-game stretch for them has not been very good. At number 3, we have the Anaheim Ducks, 3-7-0 as well. In their last 10 games, they have also lost their last 2. And Anaheim very clearly is in a rebuilding stage. They've got a lot of young players, a lot of young talent that are going to be good down the line, probably 2-3 years from now, but they are not there right now. They don't have it all together just yet. And Anaheim is, not winning a lot of games this season. So also just 3 wins in their last 10. They've lost their last 2. And the Ducks are probably going to finish last in the West Division, it's looking like, to say the least. Coming in at number 2, the St. Louis Blues. They are just 2-6-2 in their last 10 games. They lost last night to the Avalanche, and St. Louis is in serious, serious trouble here. They could potentially drop out of the playoffs altogether. They are in 4th spot in the West, but they've got some teams behind them that are starting to play better, and they are not. I mean, just 2 wins in their last 10. Lost 6 of those games straight up in regulation. St. Louis is really, really struggling here, and they've had a lot of things go wrong this season. They've had a lot of injury issues, but at the end of the day, there's no real excuse. The wins and losses all count, whether you have injuries or not, or whether you have other things going on or not. So St. Louis needs to start finding some ways to win games if they're going to get into the playoffs this year. If not, they are in trouble, and they have really, really not played well the last few weeks here, and they're in danger of dropping out of the postseason altogether. That leads us to number 1, the Buffalo Sabres, 1-7-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game out in overtime to the New York Rangers. I don't want to hammer on the Sabres too much because we all know the season that they're having, and it's not been very good. They do have a win in the win column, though, which they did not have last week. So congratulations to the Sabres on getting the win and breaking the 18-game losing streak. That was really, really nice to see, and a big win for them. But they're still the coldest team in the league. They've still only won 1 game in their last 10, and they've really only won 1 game in their last 19 games. So they're pretty clearly still the coldest team in the league, but at least they got a win, and congratulations for that. So those are your coldest teams in the NHL right now. At number 5, the Chicago Blackhawks. At number 4, the Calgary Flames. At number 3, the Anaheim Ducks. At number 2, the St. Louis Blues. And at number 1, the Buffalo Sabres. So there are your hot and cold teams for this week. We'll be back again next week to do the exact same thing and see who comes on the list, who drops off it, and if the order changes among the teams that are still there. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, donation link, and channel memberships are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.